I'm Lynn. Welcome back to Cooking with Lynn. I hope you've been watching, and if this is your first time here, I'm cooking for the Cumberland Library. I started cooking during the pandemic, and I'm still cooking because people seem to be watching, so we'll keep it up for a bit. Alright, so today I am making sausage stuffed zucchini boats and cheesy orzo. And so I kind of already started. I started hollowing out my zucchini. I'm just going to go over quickly what you need. And I'm going to talk about the million different ways you can make this, because you can stuff the zucchini boats with anything. And you can also make it stuffed peppers too. You can use the same filling. So what I have, obviously zucchini. I have two here. I already hollowed out one. This is enough for my husband and I. If you have more people, add more zucchini, add more stuffing, all of that. I'll show you how to hollow that out in a minute. So I have sausage. I just have mild chicken sausage. Sometimes I buy the one that has kale in it. I usually buy chicken sausage. It doesn't have to be. And you can make it spicy and get hot Italian sausage. I just realized you can't really see me that great. Anyway, I'll try to stay in the frame. I have a pepper. I have onion, garlic. I have a little bit of seasoning, which we'll talk about as we go. And I'm going to put tomatoes in mine just from the can. And top it with a little bit of cheese and some basil, and you'll see all the ingredients as we go along. So I'm going to finish hollowing out the zucchini boats here. Show you what I'm doing. Get this out of the way so you can see me and hear me. So this one's a little, helps if you get one that's kind of straight, but I mean it's a boat, so whatever. And cut it down the middle. If you can't get it to sit straight, you can just cut a little bit so that it's flat. This one seems to be okay. So I'm just going to cut it down the middle. I've got my oven preheated to 400, and I know it's summer, we don't want to turn our ovens on, but it's for a pretty short time. Alright, so I'm just going to, hopefully you can see me, just going to take a spoon and just scoop out the middle. It's not difficult. Sometimes just getting it started, and just kind of scrape it. The seeds are tiny, so you don't really need to worry about de-seeding it or anything like that. And it's pretty easy. Once you get it started, it's easier to just kind of scrape the rest of the flesh out. Just kind of rock it back and forth and scrape as much out as you want. I'm going to use this in the recipe. Some people scrape it out and save it for something else or throw it away, or it seems like a waste. So I'm going to use it in the stuffing. Scrape that all out, put it aside. So what I'm doing is I'm going to, once I get these hollowed out, I'm going to cook them a little bit, because I find that a lot of the recipes I see, oh, my neighbor's got to cut the grass right now. Hold on a second. Okay, bad timing. Hopefully it won't be too intrusive. Real life, real cooking. Alright, scrape that one out, so I've got another one here. Look at, it's too big. So I'm just going to lop some of that off so it'll fit in my pan. But I put it that way now. Okay, it's all good. It's going to cut the front grass. Hopefully it won't be too noisy. Scrape that out. I don't know what I was saying before we started cutting the grass. But, so, oh, I think I was talking about how some recipes don't cook the zucchini ahead of time. They just cook it with the stuffing in it. But I always kind of find that the zucchini is not cooked enough for me, for my liking. So what I'm doing is I'm getting this ready to throw this in the oven and cook it a little bit ahead of time. Let's make that fit in there. And wash my hands. Okay. So I'll throw a little salt and pepper, season that up a little tiny bit. And I don't really need to put a whole lot of anything else, but you do want to season everything. Close the window so you can't hear the wind. And I'm just going to put it in the oven. I've got it at 400. And I'm just going to put it on for like 10 minutes. Set my timer. Alright, So while that's happening, so we're cooking everything ahead of time, all the stuffing, I'm going to put it in, and then it's just going to bake to just warm everything through, finish the zucchini cooking, and melt the cheese that we're going to put on top. So I think you can find recipes where you bake the zucchini, the stuffed zucchini longer, but I feel like then your stuffing's overcooked, so I don't know. That's how I do it. I actually did it not too long ago, and I cooked it on the grill, and that worked out really good. I wrapped everything in foil after it was stuffed, and I stuck it on the grill, and that worked pretty good. Kind of had to keep an eye on it because I wasn't sure how long that was going to take. But, okay, so I'm going to start the orzo now. That takes a little bit of time, so I'm going to get that going. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cook my orzo in chicken broth because, you know, why not add a little more flavor wherever we can. And so I need, depending on how much, how many people you're serving is how you're going to determine, but I'm going to do 2 cups. Actually, first thing I'm going to do, getting ahead of myself, is saute some onions and some garlic in here just for a little extra flavor in the orzo. And you can also, if you want, you can toast the orzo and just bring out a little extra flavor in that as well. Just adjust this. Just adjust. Back a little so you can see. See these, see that. Okay. So I'm melting butter in here. You can use olive oil, you can use both. I'm just going to saute not a ton of onion, and if I had a shallot I would use that instead, really. But I didn't. So I don't want a ton of onion either. I don't want it to be super full of onions, just for some flavor. I'm not even going to use all that. So that's that. Stir that around a little bit. I'm not going to put the garlic in at the same time because garlic will burn and get bitter, so let that go for a little bit and let that sweat down. And we can be multitasking here. Let that go, turn it down a little bit. So I'm going to start cutting up. I have an onion here. I started cutting that. I'm going to put in my sausage stuffing, I'm going to put the sausage, obviously. I'm going to put the stuff I took out. This is really not. So sorry. See me now? Can you hear me now? Pepper. I'm going to put some seasoning. I think I already said that. I'm going to put some tomatoes. You can make this a little bit Greek, if you will. Put some olives and some feta instead of the cheese I'm going to use. I'm just going to use like a mozzarella provolone mix. You can leave meat out completely, use ground turkey, use whatever meat, but then if you are a vegetarian or you have vegetarians in the house, you could use beans with some veggies. You could use lentils. You could use just a bunch of veggies, really. So there's lots of things you can do with this. Lots of different meats, lots of different options. And like I said, you can use the same stuffing in a pepper. Or I've used summer squash too. Okay, so that's going pretty good. Throw my garlic in. I just have 1 small clove of garlic. Again, I don't want it to be super overpowering in my orzo. And I'm not going to toast my orzo, but you can. I have a smaller pan here. It's not really conducive to toasting the orzo, but nevertheless. Alright, I said I was going to chop an onion. I'm going to chop an onion. And this is for the stuffing. Yes. So once you can start to smell the garlic, you know that once it's fragrant, you know that it's cooking and it's probably good enough. So now I'm going to throw in, I'm going to cook it, like I said, in chicken broth to add a little extra flavor. You could use beef broth or vegetable broth, whatever. I'm probably making too much orzo, but I'm doing 2 cups of chicken broth to 1 cup of orzo. And orzo is a pasta, as you probably know, so just follow the directions for how long it takes to cook. I'm going to turn that back up so that can get going. And then we'll get the orzo in there. Alrighty. So let's see, do I have enough onion? Yeah. It's enough onion. You can leave onion out. Throw whatever veggies you want in there. Let's see. Okay, I think we got chopped up enough. I don't want big giant pieces. So you're stuffing all this stuff in that little boat. You don't want big giant chunky pieces because it won't fit. The whole thing won't fit. So does that make sense? Hopefully it does. And I'm just going to chop up my pepper. There's a lot of red pepper. I can't eat green pepper for whatever reason, but I like red pepper. Yellow pepper is good too. And just give that a quick little dice. As the water is boiling, we'll get the orzo in there. What do I do with it? Oh, there it is. All right. Let's open this guy up. Get all those ribs out. Okay. For that. All right. Probably going to use most of this. I may not use all of it. Exciting to watch someone chop, isn't it? And just get it in a small dice. Everything needs to be pretty small. And just figure out how much you want. It's all personal preference. Leave the pepper out. Throw another veggie in there. Kale, sometimes I throw some kale. You gotta cut that up real small. Spinach. Any other kind of grain that you can saute, just cut it up small. The possibilities are endless. And, I mean, obviously I'm making a pasta with it as a side dish, but the zucchini part of it is low carb. There's nothing in there. Well, I am going to put a little bit of breadcrumb in there, but that's okay. Just a little bit won't hurt. Okay, so let's get sauteing. I'm going to move this over here to the burner that goes fast. And shut that one off. Actually, this one's called the power burner. I don't know why. It doesn't seem to feel that much better than the others, but you like to label them to make it look fancy. Getting some olive oil in there. And get the pan nice and hot. You can tell the olive oil's hot when you can start to see it ripple, so you'll know it's hot enough. That way, if you put everything in there when the pan is cold and the olive oil is cold, it's just sitting in the oil and soaking up the oil. So let it get hot for a minute or two. And our pasta orzo water is almost boiling. So again, if you are kind of doing a Greek thing with the zucchini, you can follow that along in your orzo and throw some feta in there, throw some olives. I don't like olives, but you could do that. And some maybe little cherry tomatoes that you cut up, cut in half, and make the whole thing a Greek thing. Make it like a taco thing, some cumin in the meat, and I mean the possibilities are just endless. And I've done it with ground turkey. We eat a lot of ground turkey. We don't eat too much red meat, so I don't use ground beef that much, but sausage is good, and like I said, a lot of times I pick chicken sausage. All right, let's get this in here. It's actually kind of a lot. Maybe I don't need it all. I have garlic too. I'm going to put some garlic in there, not a ton. I like garlic, but I don't like it to be the only thing I can taste. You know, I want to taste all the other things too, so I don't want it to be overpowering. Why didn't that get cut? What's the matter with you? Get out of there. I don't need it. Alright, so the water's boiling. You can't see it, but it is, trust me. So, I'm going to get my orzo. I'm multitasking here. Come on. That in there. Alright. Let that go. I'm going to turn it down a bit. don't even know if I'm supposed to cover it, to be honest, but I think I will. Alright, my zucchini's done. There's too many things happening. Let me get that out. There we go. Just started to soften up. I know, I mean, you don't even have to eat the zucchini. That would seem kind of silly, but to not eat it, but I don't like it when it's like kind of raw, and to me, just putting it in, put the stuffing in, put it in for like 10 minutes, it's not enough cooking time for that, so that works out well. I'm going to get some salt in here, and pepper, and then my sausage. So I bought it in the casing and then I took it out of the casing. I don't know why I don't just buy it out of the casing. I do that all the time. Sometimes it can be hard to find it out of the casing, but get that all in it. It might even actually be too much filling for the boats, but that's fine. You can eat it. Just eat it with the orzo, or leftovers are good. So we're just, oh, it's warm. So we're just gonna break that up. I had to shut the windows because of the lawnmower, and now I'm gonna sweat. So just let that go. Don't have to go too crazy with seasoning because sausage has its own seasoning in it, so you know, go easy on the salt. I said I was gonna cover that orzo, didn't I? See if I can find the right cover. Yay. Okay. And I also want to get this in here, so that's my, I'm actually going to cut that up a little bit because it came out in big chunks. So just run the knife over that and get that. It's going to break down a lot because zucchini is a very watery vegetable, so it'll break down on its own, but again, we don't want big giant chunks. Alright, good enough. Zucchini doesn't take very long. Whoa. It's jumping out of the water here. Keep moving that around. Let me see. You can see. Why is my spoon hot? Orzo's going. Dinner's cooking. Now we just had this like last week, and then I realized I was making it for this video, and I said to my husband, hope you don't mind, we're having it again, but he is not a picky eater, and he'll eat whatever I stick in front of him. So I'm not going to put the tomatoes in yet. I'm going to wait until the sausage gets good and, not really brown, but cooked through. I don't want any pink. Everything should be cooked through when you stuff and put it in the oven. Okay. Let's not forget my little garlic. Get rid of the mess if you can. Alright. That's going. It won't take much for the zucchini to cook. And I'm definitely going to have extra. That's a lot. I haven't even put the tomatoes in yet. You can leave the tomatoes out. Put whatever you want in here. Put whatever you like in here. It's just a method, just like I always say. Learn how to make something and then make it your own. And, you know, sometimes it's about what do I have in the pantry? Sometimes I cook things based on what vegetable is about to go bad, or what, you know, oh, I took this out, I need to cook it. Sometimes it's just about what do I have on hand? You know, it's pantry pulls, you know, what do I have in my pantry? What do I have in my fridge? And this is, you know, pretty common. There's nothing in here that's super unusual, and zucchini is very readily available this time of the year, and cheap. I always have probably too much of it in there, I'm making zucchini noodles with my spiralizer. I love that. And the funny thing is like I would never just boil a zucchini in a pan of water. I do that with summer squash, but for some reason I don't like it with zucchini, so I don't know. But I'm finding all these other ways to use zucchini, so it's working out good. All right, I think it's time we can throw the tomatoes in. So I have just diced, no salt, and I actually bought the one that has some seasoning now. They have like all different kinds. They even have spicy ones. So this one has basil, garlic, and oregano. So we'll add a bonus flavor. I drained it. You want to drain it. Just get that. You could use like a tomato sauce instead. Kind of make it like a little Italian thing. Maybe put the stuffing in there and then put this little bit of sauce over it and put the cheese on it. That would work too. It all works. Just want to cook it through is all you want to do, because when you get it in the oven, it's really only going to be about finishing the zucchini and cooking it through the rest of the way and melting the cheese that I'm going to put on it. You could put goat cheese. It'd be yummy. I know not everybody likes that. Not everybody likes a lot of the cheeses I like the real pungent ones. Use what you like. Use a good melting cheese. Use something that, the feta is not necessarily a great melting cheese, but it'll be perfect. Trust me. All right, so now I am going to turn it down and I'm going to throw a little bit of Panko breadcrumbs. Add a little bit of texture. You want to get stuffing. Orzo's cooking. And so I said a little bit, what did I, probably put 1/8 of a cup, 1/4 of a cup. And we're all cooked through, so I'm going to turn it down. Did I forget anything? I was going to throw a little bit of Italian seasoning in here. Use what you like, depending on, that was probably a teaspoon. The tomatoes already had some seasoning in them, so won't go too crazy. And we salt. And then this Parmesan's going on top. Also, hang on. I'm going to throw some shredded cheese on top as well. Can't have too much cheese as far as I'm concerned. So it's going to be messy, but we're going to do it. Alright, get a big spoon, not too big. Turned it off. Alright, you use regular breadcrumbs or seasoned breadcrumbs. That works. Just going to spoon it in. If your boats have cooled enough, which they have, kind of, sort of, pick them up and do it right over there. Yeah, they're not cool enough. They're hot. Spoon it right in. It's okay if you get it all over the place. Yeah, this is more than enough. More than. I could probably stuff 8 zucchini with this. 8 pieces. All over the place. Finish one. Come on. Just, can you see what I'm doing? I sure hope so. Just stuffing. And use a pepper. Use both. I've done 2 peppers and a zucchini, so everybody gets a pepper. Everybody, me and my husband. You get a pepper and you get a half a zucchini. That's kind of adds a little variety. Stuff, overstuff. Yeah, there's so much. Just kind of get it in there. Now, what you're probably going to find, maybe, is when you eat it, so you cut a piece, you're trying to get the stuffing in with the zucchini, and you know, sometimes they don't stick together, and I haven't found a solution for that, so I'll just go with it. All right, dirty hands. So Orzo's going like crazy. Orzo's got, so you need like a good 15 minutes for that. And so don't rush that. That can sit because this is going to bake for a little bit. I'm going to put, actually put the Parmesan on first. Don't have to. I put Parmesan on things you wouldn't believe. My eggs. I know people who hate it. And then I'm going to throw some, I am sweating. Hope I'm not glistening too much. I'm just going to throw that on there. And that's also going to be, I sprayed the pan because I knew that I was going to have overflow. It happens every time. Just throwing that cheese down on there. And you can, so after you bake it, if you want the cheese to be a little bit golden brown, you could throw it under the broiler for a minute, but as you know, if you've used the broiler, watch it because it takes 2 seconds and burnt. Cheese. More cheese. So we're still a little bit low carb here because all we've got is a little bit of breadcrumbs in there. And then I'm just going to drizzle a little olive oil over there. All right, so our orzo needs to finish, and this is going in the oven for about 10 minutes. So I'm going to pause, and I'll come back in a minute. Hello, I'm back. My neighbor shut his lawnmower off, and then just as I went to start it up again, he started his lawnmower up again. So timing is everything. Anyway, I started cheesing my orzo because it was done. And what I did is little kind of cheesy cheat. You've seen these in the supermarket. Laughing Cow. This one's just the original one. They have all different kind of flavors. So I just took one of these wedges and I put it in there and stirred it up, and it's super creamy and cheesy. Then we're going to make it more cheesy. Because we're going to throw all that Parmesan in there. Super cheesy orzo. So, I mean, your kids would love this. It's like mac and cheese, really. And you can melt other cheese, put any cheese you want in it. I mean, any good melting cheese, mozzarella, fontina, cheddar, all those good melting cheeses. Put that aside for now. And, oh yeah, let's see what's going on in the oven here. I cooked them for 10 minutes on 400, and then I turned the broiler on. So now I'm really sweating. It's hot in here. And I've got cheesy, golden brown, and cooked through. So, and I have so much. Is this hot? Yes. Well, I don't need to show you. I can show you. I have tons and tons of, that's a little, I hate to move this thing because I have so much trouble getting it back where it needs to go. Sorry. I had plenty of leftover, I could have just said that, leftover stuffing, so we can have that for something else, stuff something else. And so let me get that, show you how to plate it. Nothing fancy. Just, it's going to be hot. Ooh, ooey gooey, chewy, cheesy. So we each get 2. And some cheesy orzo. Very, 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 very cheesy. Just a little bit for me, watching my carbs. And I'm just going to throw some fresh basil. I always love to throw fresh herbs on top. And once again, you can't see me. Can you see what I'm doing though? That's what's really important. Let's look at that plate. So just garnishing. The basil doesn't want to stick. Whatever you're going to do, if you're going to garnish, Do it while it's hot so it sticks. What is going on with this thing? Technical difficulties. And I'm just throwing a little salt over the top. If you can see it. I don't know. I lost my mind. There we go. You can see me. You can see it. Cheesy and delicious sausage stuffed zucchini with cheesy orzo. I'll see you again next time. Don't forget to check out what else we're doing at the Cumberland Library. There's lots of good stuff going on. Ouch! Don't burn your arm. And I'll see you soon. All right, I'm doing another one in 2 weeks. I've got a guest chef, and come check it out.